So this contestant doesn't hide behind lip syncing and gets a low score. Yet this contestant's vocals are pretty fishy and she gets the highest score. That's the thing with Mnet's evil editing, right? Hi, welcome. My name is Angelina. I'm finally back. It feels like I've been gone forever. Someone's building a literal house in the backyard. I think it's rude. So yes, I am back, and today we are going to be discussing the first battle on Queendom Puzzle, the up and down battle. So this is basically a reevaluation type of battle, because in the preview episode we could see that everyone is separated from 1 to 4 based on a specific ranking. This ranking was essentially number of music show wins and the biggest initial album sales. So each counted for 50% each. So at the very top, of course, we had some veteran idols, and then at the very bottom we had some idols that debuted like 70 days ago. But the whole point of the up-down battle was to make a reevaluation of these rankings. So people who were originally in the bottom at number 4 could have the potential to make their way up to number 1. So we could essentially start with a clean slate and not take into account all the previous successes that these people had. So we will be voting at the end of this video as well, but for now we're going to go through each performance that we saw this week and discuss them together. So I actually watched the show this time for every other Mnet show: Queendom, Queendom 2, Kingdom, Road to Kingdom. I don't remember what I reviewed. I just remember reviewing things. I never actually watched the episodes. I would always wait for the performances to be uploaded. But I got demonetized. I have all the time in the world to sit down for 2.5 fucking hours to watch an Mnet show. I'm sorry, I just wasn't expecting it to be so long. But I have notes, my friends. So I'm excited to discuss these performances with you and details about the show. But before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with friends you don't have. You can also join my Patreon. I've decided to close channel members and focus exclusively on Patreon so that YouTube doesn't burn me again. So that's where it's at. You can get content early or special bonus videos. But yes, the up-down battle. So basically people could vote up or down. Literally as simple as that. And I'm going to also share with you if I would have voted up or down. So first up, we have Dohwa from AOA, previously known as Tanmi. So a couple of people have asked me, like, aren't you a second gen stan? Aren't you like a fan of AOA and Lovelies? And I'm just like, I literally have never, I heard one AOA song in my life, and it's the cat song. And even at that, I don't know what that will. And I don't really know how this happened as a second gen stan, because these groups seem to have debuted during like the golden age of K-pop, I would say. Like 2011, 2012 is the golden age of K-pop in my opinion. When did AOA debut? AOA debut date? 2012, right? Like I should know these people, but I don't. Lovelies debut date 2014, not a good year, horrible year for K-pop. Don't expect me to know that. But I in fact have no reason why I don't know AOA. I have no idea. But here we have Dohwa, formerly known as Chanmi from AOA, and I forgot to write down which song she was performing, but I believe it was an AOA song. Now right off the bat, I feel like Mnet was making a big deal about the difference in ages of people, even down to the very outfits that they were wearing. You know, they made it a point to show that these younger idols are all wearing very chic and cool clothing, whereas the older idols are wearing custom-made dresses. So they look a little bit out of place. Now, truthfully, watching this performance, I've never seen an AOA performance in my life. That's a lie. I probably have. I just don't remember it. So I don't know what AOA bring to the table. I know they were very known for their sexy concepts. But I know, having debuted in 2012, she probably knows how to be in sync. She probably knows how to give a good performance. I'm just assuming that, right? But for a lot of these performances, I just have this feeling that Mnet was like, do your worst. Literally do your worst, and then we'll see how you get better throughout the show. Which makes sense if this was like rookies trying to go into a separate girl group, right? But these are all people who are already in girl groups or soloists. So to do the whole we started out horrible and now we're improving throughout the show seems a little counterintuitive. It seems a little weird to me. When I saw her performance, I thought it was a little stiff. The stage presence wasn't quite there. And then of course she had the mistake with her dress where she was supposed to rip off the skirt bottom part, and it didn't work. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but of course through reality TV, everything is a super dramatic moment, and for that reason it seems a lot of people downvoted her. Yeon of CLC even said something along the lines of, they're so cold, one mistake and it's all over. Now I don't necessarily agree with that. I personally would have downvoted her as well, not because of the mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. These are things sometimes that you can't really control. You know, when it comes to reality TV, I am the biggest skeptic ever. So I always think things are perfectly strategically planned, even down to maybe her messing up her skirt thing. I don't know. It just seems weird to me that the Velcro was Velcroing that hard. But who knows? Maybe it was a genuine mistake. I wouldn't have downvoted her on that basis. I just thought, she wasn't giving it her all. So she ended up having 11 upvotes and 16 downvotes. So after this, we get Zoe from Weeekly, who performed After School by Weeekly, as well as Rum Pum Pum from FX. She starts off on an actual skateboard, which fits the lyrics of the song. However, we quickly switched into FX's Rum Pum Pum, which I think was such a fun song choice, to be honest. However, the stage presence wasn't quite there for me, which I don't know. Again, I just wonder if Mnet was like, guys, do your worst, because like, I'm sure being part of a 4-year-old group, doing training, doing promotions, all that jazz, I'm sure her stage presence would have been fine. But it was just a little bit lacking. And again, I don't know Weeekly performances enough to know if this is standard for her or not. This is just my little theory with Mnet. So let me know in the comments down below. Either way, I think I would have given her a downvote as well. She ended up getting 16 upvotes and 11 downvotes. Then we get to Jiwoo of Triple S. So she performed their song Rising, and a lot of the critique that I heard was that, her hat was in her face, so you couldn't really see her, though she did look cool as hell. The one thing I noticed is that she wasn't really in sync with her backup dancers and seemed a little stiff. So this is another performance that I think I would have downvoted. But Jiwoo from Triple S ended up getting 7 upvotes and 20 downvotes. Then we have Jiwon from Cherry Bullet, who performed Gotta Go by Chungha, a classic, of course. I mean, I'm sure even if you don't consider it a classic yet, it'll surely... With time, it'll surely become a classic. So the notes that I took for this performance is that it was more energetic than the other performances, the first performances that we saw, but it did feel just a little bit messy, like she was trying a little too hard. Previously in a podcast episode, we had a conversation about over dancing versus under dancing. And ultimately I said, as long as there's live vocals, you can under dance and it doesn't matter. And in terms of over dancing, I would much rather see that than under dancing and lip syncing. So in this instance, I'm not sure, like it wasn't an over type, it wasn't the type of over dancing where it's like 200%. Those memes that a lot of K-pop idols play, it's like 0% versus 50% versus 100% versus 120, and they're all dancing at different levels. It didn't feel too much. I just felt it enough to the point that it looked a little messy is all. Regardless, I still think I would vote up for this performance, not because it was necessarily my favorite, but because it was more energetic than the previous performances that we saw, and I was craving for energy at that point. Jiwon from Cherry Bullet did end up getting 24 upvotes and 3 downvotes. Also, I'm on retinol right now. My face is a little flaky, so I don't want to hear anything about the face filter. But moving on. So now we have Suyun from Rocket Punch. She did Taemin's Advice as her performance. So here's where Mnet is trying to kind of put people against each other. And I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to a little bit of competition. This is literally a competition show. As they should, as Mnet should. They should definitely be making this a competition. But it's just done in such a cringy way. I don't know. I used to love watching reality TV, but I don't really watch it as much anymore because I do think I'm overly critical and I just can't sit back and enjoy things. So I'm trying to just sit back and enjoy Queendom Puzzle. But I do find it's like, oh my God, they have like a similar concept. And I just don't feel the excitement. Like I feel like Mnet through the editing and everything are trying to make us feel like Suyun is like a rival to Jiwon, and I think they even said it word for word, like, oh, she's supposed to be my rival, because Cherry Bullet and Rocket Punch debuted at a similar time and they had similar concepts and they had comebacks at the same time, but I just don't feel the rivalry. Like I don't feel it. Maybe you guys do. But we see that Suyun predicted that she would get a 24 up and a 3 down, which is what Jiwon got from Cherry Bullet. So we see this is what she predicts that she will get out of her performance. So we're already seeing them set her up for something quite high, and we can already tell it's probably going to be quite low. So the critiques that the contestants had were that it seemed like she was having trouble singing live. That's the thing with Mnet's evil editing, right? One contestant could get so many downvotes because they had a voice crack or their vocals don't sound good, and another contestant whose vocals are clearly edited, maybe they're even lip syncing, who knows, is going to get a higher vote. So I don't really know how to gauge this because sometimes Mnet decides to edit the vocals and sometimes it looks like they're straight up letting people lip sync. So I really don't know. Would I downvote her based on how she sounded? I don't think she sounded the worst. There were some performances that I do think sounded a lot worse. I would still, however, downvote this performance, not because of the vocals. I think that was something that I could look past, but there was just something missing within the energy of it all. But let me know what you think. Suyun from Rocket Punch did end up getting 12 upvotes and 15 downvotes. Moving on to Nana from Wooyeon. So she also did a Taemin song, so Move by Taemin. So Mnet already, they were building her up as this amazing dancer. They had all the contestants talk about how she is known for her dancing, that she's going to be such an amazing dancer. So I immediately expected her to not be good. Anything they say, I expect the exact opposite, right? And truthfully, the first half of the performance, I'm not sure that she sounded the best that she could. And the stage presence did feel a little bit stiff. I just felt like this wasn't the perfect song choice to really show off her skills, because then we see clearly in the dance break, you know, she picks up her facial expressions and she's dancing with so much enthusiasm, and it just feels so different from the first half of the performance. But otherwise, in the first half, it did leave me feeling a little bit bored. So I would personally vote this performance down. However, Nana from Wooyeon ended up getting 19 upvotes and 8 downvotes. So of course, we have Chaeyeon on the show, which I'm a little confused because they said that Chaeyeon dropped out of the show and now suddenly she's in the show. So I'm guessing she drops out somewhere, you know, somewhere else. No, she wasn't the one who dropped out of the show. It was different IZ*ONE members actually. Don't trust a single thing I say, but anyways. So she performed Tok 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 by Yeoreum. So the editing for her was way dramatic, so over dramatic. And I'm trying to keep that in mind because otherwise it does make her seem like such an unpleasant person. And it does, you know, I can imagine a lot of people starting to hate her because she seems arrogant. She doesn't seem humble in the slightest. She just seems like she's not a girl's girl. Like, they just made it seem like she's plotting for everyone's downfall so that she can be at the top. And you know what? There is that possibility that she is genuinely that type of person. But as I keep on mentioning, I feel like everything is put in the show for a reason. And I do feel like she was maybe told to be that way. But of course, this performance was also super hyped up, so I was expecting her to not do that well. And personally, it really wasn't one of my favorite performances. I just felt like her facial expression stayed more or less the same throughout the whole thing. You know, nothing against her dancing or anything, but the dancing seemed fine. It just, you know, the presence itself, I wasn't really feeling it. So this is another performance that I would vote down. Otherwise, Chaeyeon got 20 upvotes and 7 downvotes, to which she was incredibly upset about. I don't know, it just felt very uncomfortable to watch. So a lot of us were introduced to Phi, who is a Thai solo artist, and she is known for her Hype Boy cover that got like 3.3 million views last time I checked. So she performed not only Hype Boy but Gone Girl, and this is another instance where Gone Girl is her own song, by the way. Hype Boy, the vocals for Hype Boy seemed so smooth and beautiful, a little bit too smooth, because in other performances we were hearing movement, we were, you know, hearing all that jazz. So that's what I mean when I say Mnet really decides whose vocals they want to showcase and whose they don't. So it seemed really smooth, and then we got to her own song and it sounded quite messy, to be honest with you. I thought she had a beautiful voice and I thought her presence was quite up there. Despite the messiness in the second half, I would still vote her up. In fact, I think people did her dirty. Had she just stuck to Hype Boy with those beautifully smoothed out vocals, I think she would have gone a lot higher. But in doing her own song, maybe that's where people got a little bit lost. But she did end up getting 16 upvotes and 11 downvotes. Next up, we have Riina from High Key. So she did her song Rose Blossom mixed with pop. This did seem quite random, right? And I think, you know, when we get to the next performance, we're going to see why. Why maybe it wasn't so random. The energy was fine. I still think it would be a performance that I would vote up. I don't see a reason to vote it down. I just felt like she was smiling a lot rather than it feeling like it came natural to her, if that makes sense. And then, of course, we had the voice crack, which in any music show, especially on Mnet, would have totally been smoothed out. It would have been smoothed out, or perhaps it would have been lip synced. Did you know what I mean? So that's where I feel like the evil editing comes in. But either, you know, I'm glad to hear movement and I'm glad to hear idols' real voices, right? But be consistent with everyone, because not everyone's voices are sounding the same. And it's very clear that some voices are edited and some voices aren't edited, which obviously isn't fair, but whatever. It's TV. It's show business, baby. Okay, Riina from High Key ended up getting 8 ups and 19 downvotes. Weekly's Jihan performed pop as well. So now we see why it's not so random that Riina performed Rose Blossom mixed with pop. because of course we needed 2 contestants to perform the exact same song. Now, seeing both performances, I probably would have downvoted poor Riina and upvoted Jihan because I do think it is the better pop performance. I feel like it came more natural to her, aside from like what seemed like quite forced, really cute poses at times, but you know, whatever, it's a song. And I definitely like the interpretation of it. Like, she brought something new to pop, whereas Rina's performance felt like to a T Nayeon's pop. The situation was a little bit shady, but I think it's actually pretty good to see 2 people perform the same song, because then you do get to see who does it better. It is what it is. Overall, Weekly's Jihan got 17 upvotes and only 10 downvotes. But now we have Wooyeon from Wooa. She ended up performing Taeyeon's INVU, so of course, Taeyeon herself being the MC of the show, it was a little bit nerve-wracking for her. However, I thought she did fine. Like, I thought she did fine, to be honest, and I don't think she deserved that low of a vote. She literally got 4 upvotes and 23 downvotes. They did her a little bit dirty because honestly, it really wasn't that bad. Like, obviously, it wasn't anything super extravagant, but that's kind of the nature of the song, isn't it? Like, I've seen a few of INVU's original performances and it's very mellow. Like, I don't know really what else she could have brought to it, but maybe it's kind of similar to Rina's pop performance versus Jihan's pop performance, where Riina kind of did it to a T like Nayeon versus Jihan, who brought something different. So maybe that could be one of the criticisms, that, you know, it was kind of a little similar, nothing extravagant, didn't really bring her own flavor to it. So in that sense, I do kind of understand it. So we're down to the last couple of performances for this week. So next up, we have Yeoreum from WJSN. She performed their song As You Wish, as well as by Kai. I thought her presence was good. Her dancing was also good. However, that high note to me didn't really seem live. And again, if we're going to critique people and vote for people all off of the same criteria, then we need the same criteria. We need to hear everyone live, not just a couple people who may have movement or bad vocals at times. You know, we need to hear everybody live. But this is another performance that I would vote up for. Yeoreum from WJSN got 24 ups and 3 downs, so a lot of people did really like this as well. Bora from Cherry Bullet. So she did My C by IU. By the way she was dressed, honestly, I thought she was like a second gen idol. She really fit in with Dohwa and K, right? Just simply by the way she was dressed, I thought she was a second gen idol. And then I'm like, oh, she's actually from Cherry Bullet. Okay. So this performance to me was the fishiest, because from right off the bat, such smooth vocals. You know, she's singing quite a difficult song from what I can imagine, right? It seems quite difficult. So I did think she was lip syncing, but I honestly don't know. It could either be that she is lip syncing or that the vocals are so smoothed out that it ends up not seeming authentic. But I don't know Cherry Bullet or their performances. Maybe she really is just that good at singing and dancing at the same time. I don't know. Based on that, I really don't know what I would vote, because my instinct is to downvote, but I just, like, I don't know, maybe she was really just singing and it was edited to a point where it didn't feel authentic. But otherwise, this was a performance that everyone seemed to like, except for 2 people. So Bora from Cherry Bullet got 25 upvotes and only 2 downvotes, which makes her the best performance of the week. I mean, yeah, beautiful vocals, what can I say? But anyways, it is to be continued. So next week, we're going to get to see the rest of the performances. But for now, we need to vote for 7 contestants. Now, I know I'm a girl group stan, but like, I know a lot of these groups, like Cherry Bullet, Rocket Punch, Weeekly. However, I don't know any of the members, so I think it's going to be a little bit difficult. But I downloaded the Mnet Plus app, so we're going to have to pick. So this is interesting because there's 26 members to choose from, but obviously 26 members did not perform. So you're picking your faves at this point, not based on performance. I am going to try to pick based on performance, but I really don't remember. I'm going to pick Faye. Let's go with Jihan as well. Oh my god, I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe we won't do the voting. Maybe we'll wait. That is basically it for this video. Thank you so much for joining me. We have, I think, 9 days left until I can reapply for monetization, and then we can get this back on the road. We can start uploading more frequently. I've just been feeling a little down because I'm like, what's the point of anything? But don't forget to join my Patreon if you'd like to support me in other ways to help sustain this channel, even through copyright claims and demonetizations. I hope to have a lot of fun with you guys over there. But as for me, I'm gonna get going. So I'll see you guys next time. Huge thank you to my patrons for supporting this channel on a monthly basis, to my first gen tiers, second gen tiers, and third gen tiers. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.